a martini, shaken not stirred.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Houston, we have a problem.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
I'm your #1 fan.
And here we go.
Alright, before we kick off today's episode, we just let you know that Rockstar Energy Drink is the official energy drink of the Cine-Men movie podcast, available in over 20 different flavors in 30 different countries. Man, I tried the new flavor today called Hardcore Green Apple. It is 300 milligrams of caffeine. The interactive energy drink for people who live interactive lifestyles. Try it today, because it's the official energy drink of the Cine-Men movie podcast. Thank you everybody for joining us here on the Cine-Men movie podcast. It is the episode we have been waiting for a while. It is Captain Marvel.
The lead-in to the in-game.
Joined hereby with Ed.
Word. How's it going?
Zach.
I'm here.
And Zach, this is the first time we've got you
In person.
Yes.
in room, if you will. So another Brie Larson movie. But man, Captain Marvel blew everybody out of the water. I didn't think it would make as much money as it did. I got some of the numbers. Some of the numbers I got written down is pretty big. Thank you everybody for listening. Everybody's been messaging me, been calling in. One of the biggest episodes we've been wanting to do for the past few weeks. We've been leading into it. We've been on the road to Endgame, if you will. We've covered Avengers 2012, Age of Ultron, Captain Marvel here. We almost covered Black Panther.
Yeah, it was close.
Bohemian Rhapsody beat it out, though. And then in just a few weeks, we're going to cover Infinity War the week before Endgame. So, but Ed, if they want to follow us on Facebook, how do they do that?
Too easy. Facebook.com/Movie Reels 405. That is MOVIEREELZ 405. If you're on the Facebook app, go ahead and just put in Movie Reels 405. Like I said, I spelled it earlier, but I'll spell it again. MOVIEREELZ 405. And go ahead and tap that Learn More button. That'll direct you to the YouTube link. Go ahead and smash that like button. You might as well ring the little notification bell. Meanwhile, you're there, right? And hey, comments don't hurt, so leave a comment.
So, one of the first questions I have, we're going to just get ready to dig into a little bit of it. What did you guys first, the ending of Infinity War, you saw that little pager drop. What was the first thought that popped into your mind? We'll go clockwise. Zach?
Originally, I didn't really know that was Captain Marvel, honestly.
Same here.
I had this guy sitting next to me.
Oh, so I'm the only one?
Probably.
Sorry to point you out, Edward. There was a guy, a couple rows behind us, and it was like, oh my god, they're going to call in Superman? It's like, no.
What the hell?
It's not even the same universe, bro.
Maybe Wonder Woman, but what the hell?
Yeah. But, no, it was just like, after we saw Captain Marvel, it was just like, oh, that makes a whole lot more sense. It's basically her colors on the little picture. Ed, you said you knew right off the bat that was Captain Marvel.
You, Johnny, actually tried to mess with me and say they were calling in DC and all that at first, but I was just like, okay, doesn't mix. So I was like, so what the hell is he talking about? Because I hadn't seen the movie yet you had for Infinity Wars. And once it hit that, when Nick Fury's infamous pager drop happened, I guess you could call it, I automatically knew who that was with the colors, and the symbol is what gave it off, because I know that was the actual symbol for the...
Air Force.
No, the Star Force. Star Force 5. I've been doing a little bit of comic digging in the past couple of days just to kind of see a little bit about it.
That's pretty good, because this is the one hero that everybody says is just as powerful, if not more, than everybody else on the Avengers team. And, I didn't know much about Captain Marvel before I went and saw this movie. Actually, if you ask, I don't know anything about the comics as far as anything goes, as far as Marvel goes.
Truthfully, her origins are so, they show a small glimpse of what her origins are, but with the comics, it's quite a bit different. She was literally the damsel in distress.
So the first 30 minutes here, before we get to after top 5, will be spoiler heavy, but now, we're going to try to leave it, non-spoiler.
That what I just said, you can find in comics, YouTube, all that good stuff.
But I want to talk about some of the numbers it did. It did a domestic of $153 million. International did $302 million. And then worldwide was $455 million. The highest grossing Marvel movie behind Infinity War.
I mean, don't get me wrong, but, that's...
and that's just opening weekend.
Yeah. And that's in front of
it beat out Black Panther. As we're recording now, crazy. Sunday night, that's only from Thursday to Sunday morning. So.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It outdid Black Panther.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Infinity War is the only one left standing in the ring with it.
Well, until
with her,
comes
I
out.
should say.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we start off with is recent watches. So is there anything that you guys have recently checked out that you want to...
Just Boondock Saints 2. Figured, about a week ago or two, I watched Boondock Saints the first again, and just Boondock Saints 2. Yeah.
The second one has a little cameo, though, of Willem Dafoe, doesn't it? Isn't he, in the ending? Because I know he's in...
Yeah, that's right, in the ending. Okay, I was like, either the ending or the beginning, but yeah, the ending, because he actually he's joined the two boys, or the Boondock Saints, I should say. But yeah, I
haven't revisited in a while. Number 2 is an actual sequel, though, right? It's
It's basically them versus their dad, and then the dad gets them on his side, and then they fuck up everybody else.
The first one I've seen multiple times, but the second one I think I've only seen once or twice.
Yeah,
I actually saw it in the theater, and it was.
But yeah, William Dafoe was apparently in on it, and it's a good movie, but it's just such a twisting movie. It's not even funny.
What about you, Zach? Have you been binge watching anything or?
Binge watching Game of Thrones, getting ready for the final season. This next, what I'm about to say, I really rewatched. What I'm just watched for the first time. If you guys want to talk about it, that's fine.
No, go ahead, bring it up.
I watched the HBO documentary Leaving Neverland about Michael Jackson.
I told you.
Did you watch it?
No.
A few days ago, that's something I've really been wanting to see. But let me tell you this. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. When I was working at FYE, a lot of his stuff, he had died when I was working there, and his stuff was just flying off the shelves. So I purchased a few documentaries, a few collection CDs, but is it pretty much bashing him the entire documentary, or what kind of? Somebody for me, if somebody's out there who wants to see it but they're not too sure, how would you explain for them to go see it without maybe spoiling anything?
What I'll say about it is, I think if you're a Michael Jackson fan, I don't think you should watch it. It really...
might trigger you a little bit.
It's not so much that. It's just... And listen, I'm not taking anything away from the entertainment Michael Jackson. He is one of the most impressive people ever, But just as a man and on his personal side, no.
Really?
And they do a really good job of... And you really sympathize with these two
outing skeletons, basically.
Yeah, it's... and it goes into great detail, which I won't say on the podcast about what actually occurred. And I mean, what if you have any doubts about whether he did it? That will just totally change. It's just my thing is you can't create that much shit up in your head. There's no way. And there's the hardcore Michael Jackson fans, which one I'm sure you are one.
I'm a fan. I respect everything the dude's done in front of the mic, what he had to grow up with, the kind of father that he really had to grow up with.
And I think that played into a part of
it. I mean, it very well could have. But as far as what he does, behind the scenes, to and not to somebody, I mean, that's like.
It's kind of like what R. Kelly's going through right now.
True. For those of you listening, also that.
Sorry,
for those of you also that listening knows that I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah. And
that's the same thing. I respect everything that the man Chris Benoit did in the ring, but everything he did on the outside of the ring with his family, words can't describe what somebody can do in their personal life. Right. Is that going to make me stop listening to Michael Jackson? When I watch it, it very well could. I mean...
Well, I watched the first half of it, and then the next day I was driving to work, and one of his songs popped up, and I felt dirty just listening to it.
Wow,
no offense.
That's. I mean, and now, did you catch it on HBO now? Mm-hmm. It's on HBO now.
Yeah.
That's the same place I checked out Mr. Rogers' documentary.
Oh, so good.
Which, yeah.
You talking about Game of Thrones binging? I might have to go ahead and binge that too. Because, I mean, we're going to have 2-hour shows every single one.
Are they 2 hours, the season finale?
Only 7.
No, I think there's 6. 6 episodes the final season.
6 or 7, one of the two. But yeah, every one of them is going to be about movie length.
Wow.
Yeah.
You watch that series finale, be 3 hours.
Yeah.
Probably.
I wouldn't complain.
All I know is probably making a little Jon Snow going on. Or,
well, we did. I think I talked to Zach about this. Is what if it ends like a Scorsese film and they're just all?
Oh my god!
They're all dead.
All dead except for Peter Dinklage on this fucking.
Which I would not. I wouldn't hate. I would not hate if that happened.
Truthfully, like I know Sansa Stark or Sophie Turner, she's been done. So which I know a lot of that was pushed forward because of Dark Phoenix.
Right.
I know that the one who plays Arya, I forget her name. Macy Williams. Yes, thank you. I know she's been done for at least 4 or 5 months now. But I mean, she's been doing a couple indie little films and little side projects.
Which, ironically, both of them have an X-Men movie coming out later this year.
Well, yeah, I thought it was pretty cool actually with that. But yeah, different stuff like that. And actually, one thing you sent me that was really cool.
We'll touch on movie news here in a little bit, but as far as recent watches goes, I checked out Taxi Driver. We rewatched that. Have you seen Taxi Driver? No. Man.
I know. You hate me. Okay. I love myself.
I'm really surprised.
Really.
Honestly, Edward, I'm really surprised you haven't seen that. Truthfully.
It's a very interesting kind of movie, but it's one of those. To me, that's Martin Scorsese's best film behind Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know why, but Wolf of Wall Street to me is just.
Well, I mean, when you open up a movie sniffing coke off of a whore's ass, hey, fuck it.
That's Edward Berry at gmail.com.
EdwardBerry281 at yahoo.com. Go ahead and fucking at me. It's all good. That is my real email address, so fucking at me.
But one that I really want to spend some time on is Creed 2.
Oh, man.
I finally checked out Creed 2. Finished it, at least.
Knocked that Russian motherfucker out, didn't he?
Man, I don't know about... I don't know about knocking him out, but it's one of those movies that I'm just, like, baffled that it did not...
Get any mention.
Any kind of mention. It didn't get any recognition, didn't get any love at the Oscars, Golden Globes. It made the deadline, yeah. It came out, Thanksgiving. And the movie that won is still in theaters. I mean, Green Book came out in, December?
Oh, okay.
Which I'm not knocking Green Book, but, I mean, as far as time goes, it made the deadline. Roma was in... Don't get me started on Roma. I don't know why I did that.
He gets stroke out.
But Roma was only in theaters for, I think, a week? 2 weeks?
Not even, maybe. And that includes all of the like Sundance and all those
Yeah.
film festivals.
And then I checked out The Favorite, which had a Black Swan-esque kind of feeling to it.
Yeah, the old Renaissance, 1800s.
It looks like a
era.
Darren Aronofsky film.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, Coleman, she, it felt like she should have won for Best Supporting Actress though. Did you get to see it yet? She's in it. She's in a majority of it, but I feel like Emma Stone is in it more than she is.
And Rachel Weisz.
Yeah. But it's definitely. I mean, it's good. I can see it being worthy of being the nomination, and I can definitely see her getting why she got the award. And then checked out Overlord, which you told me to check out on last week's episode, and
insane little movie, isn't it?
It's pretty insane. The graphic, the detailed on it was detailed on everything, and at one point you feel like you're watching a war flick, then another point you feel like you're watching a straight slasher sci-fi movie, and I'm like, you know.
Well, you had the perfect analogy. It's like Saving Private Ryan meets World War Z, basically.
But it's good. I definitely recommend all of those movies this week. Did check out Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Did you like it? I liked it better than the first one.
Oh yeah, I did like it a lot better than the first one. But it kind of had the ending. I was kind of like, is it over? Or are they not gonna? You know, it kind of left it right in the middle of it. But I don't know what the third one would be about. So, but yeah, you have anybody else that have any other recent watches?
No. Not at the moment.
Well, looks like we'll get ready to get into some movie news. So we're back here. We're getting ready to start in on some movie news. And Zach, I talked to you about it earlier. There are so many streaming devices or streaming services going around nowadays. Disney Plus streaming services is going to include the entire Disney motion picture library. Thoughts, concerns, will that make hard discs go up? Will it drop prices? And then, you know, how is that's going to affect Netflix because all that stuff is coming off of Netflix. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about it? And would you pay $14.99 a month for it?
No, sorry. You know, it's all good for it's great for Disney to get into the streaming game. It's probably one of the last companies, including Apple, that's trying to get the ball rolling on that. But at the same time, you go onto Netflix right now, you can watch Black Panther, Guardians 2, Infinity War, and I believe I want to say Civil War's on there too.
Yep,
pretty sure. Yeah.
And then you can also get like
I think Ragnarok too.
Ragnarok's on there.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And the Wasp was got added. Yeah. So it's just like I personally, other than Ant-Man and the Wasp, I have all the Marvel movies, so that really doesn't bother me. But I don't, and I'm not big on like older Disney films other than the ones that I really love. So I'm not going to spend $15 on that. What do you think, Ed?
I mean, honestly, like it would depend how much you actually do like Disney. So I mean, if you like, you know, Pinocchio and Dumbo and several ones like that, especially when, you know, here in the next 5, 6, 7 years, they're kind of stepping up to try and fill in with what MCU has done. Maybe they're not making their own universe or something like that to compete with MCU, but they are making their older into newer versions, introducing the timeless classics, as they like to call them, to a new generation of kids. Plus, they're making it available after a bit of time on these new streaming devices and streaming platforms, for that matter. So, I mean, I've got an aunt, 100%. She's going. I'm pretty sure she is going to purchase that. Just because, I mean, she still has a ton of VHS tapes from the Disney movies.
That's another thing I was going to ask about the Disney services, is I heard there was going to be multiple tiers, like a $14.99 one and then maybe a $9.99 one. And from what I've heard is the $9.99 a month one is not going to include Disney Pixar. Do you think that's Disney just trying to get more money out of people?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, would you...
Yeah, and I mean, part of that will be, you know, since Disney now owns, you know,
everything.
Star Wars and the MCU and all of their stuff, of course. And I mean, it's just growing. It's just kind of it's a Kirby, basically. It's still the same entity, but it's eating everything. You know, I think a lot of people will, just because, I mean, like you said,
They have to have it.
different Marvel movies are on Netflix at the moment, but they won't be in the next, probably, I'd say 6 months to a year.
Next question about the Disney services is, you know how Disney treats their their Lion Kings? They release them every 10 years.
Yeah.
Since they have the streaming services now, do you think they would do that with their Star Wars movies? Take the Star Wars films off the market, release them every 5-10 years?
I would say not, because Star Wars is, obviously bigger than The Lion King. But, there was there was a rumor going around, I don't know if this is still true, that because Fox owned the original Star Wars for such a long period of time, that they would never ever release a good, untouched
the
version
original,
of The New
right.
Hope. But now that Disney owns that is, how much money that would, if they release that today, how much that would make?
I read something too that Disney still quite does not have the rights to that. I don't know what it is, if it's between Disney or not Disney, but Fox and Lucas. But I've been waiting for those to just be released, and
Fall into someone's lap.
because I mean, last month we did A New Hope,
Yeah.
and even though it's only 30 seconds to 45 seconds of, and then the Jabba and Han Solo scene in New Hope is 90 seconds, it completely just looks dumb. When you're sitting there watching it, it doesn't make any sense. And the CGI for when they add it is terrible.
Well, I mean, it is, and you can definitely tell, especially on like a Blu-ray or were we watching Blu-ray or 4K on that one?
Blu-ray.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure Blu-ray, but yeah, when you have the resolution of Blu-ray, when it's been updated and all that, and on top of that, they've tried to go into it and actually revamp it and retouch it, basically. It does look out of place. I'm not going to say stupid or dumb, it looks out of place.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's like the one, what was the one monster, crawling monster, they CGI'd several ones of them. Sometimes when it's that type of a movie that is 20, 30, 40 years old, sometimes when you don't touch it like that, it's a bit better, just because it keeps that same visual in, and it doesn't look out of place or off-putting or, touched,
Another thing before, it's going back to recent watches, but watching Ralph Breaks the Internet, I have a bone to pick with Disney at why Princess Leia was not in the Disney princess's locker room. Why? Stormtroopers were all over that movie. Hold on a second.
Again, folks, stroke.
Wouldn't she technically be a Disney queen now? Because, I mean, I know she's Princess Leia, but or did she forfeit her title when she became a rebel? I mean,
I just wanted to see an animated Princess Leia in the movie, and I didn't get to see it.
Oh, so you wanted golden bikini, Leia?
Next question. MovieWeb.com has reported that a new report claims that Harry Potter star Emma Watson is on the short list of Marvel's Black Widow standalone movie. Thoughts? And who else could you see playing a young Black Widow?
I would love that. I think that would be really cool. The only thing, how good is Emma Watson's
English
or not English accent, but American accent.
Did you guys see? What was that movie? Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh,
she was English. She was American in that. I thought she pulled it off real well.
Yeah. Also, wasn't she English in The Circle with Tom Hanks?
I want to say maybe. I think she's doing her American accent in that one.
But I've seen both of those movies. And yeah, your Perks of Being a Wallflower. If you guys haven't seen it,
that's an excellent movie. Honestly, very, very good.
Very underrated.
Yeah,
it's kind of like That Awkward Moment. It's a little bit like that, in the same kind of teen growing up to almost adulthood kind of
That's the one with
transition, and you will Michael
Zac
B. Jordan,
Efron,
Zac
Zac
Efron,
Efron,
yeah, because that's the first one I remember seeing Michael B. Jordan. That's the first time I had heard of him because I hadn't seen Hardball at that time, or no, I had seen it. I didn't know that was him in there.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he was in that movie. So.
Yeah, he was a kid in that movie, like 9-10 years old.
Well, we both. I mean, I think we all three agree that she could pull it off, and
Yeah.
that'd be a good role for her to do. But now,
I mean,
DC.
well,
go ahead.
I got a piece of news actually. Well, what's your DC news, and I'll do mine.
Is it about Suicide Squad too?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Will Smith thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idris Elba.
Well, there's multiple reports because it's not just him now. It's also the guy who played the colonel who gets them all together. The main white guy.
Talked about
Joel-
Scott Eastwood.
Joel Kinnaman?
Or,
I
No.
think
Him.
the
Yeah, Joel Kinnaman, the one that brings the suit. Not Amanda Waller, not Viola Davis, but the
Right,
other one.
yeah.
Joel Kinnaman.
like there's reports that this thing is just breaking down, and now Will Smith not doing it, and you know.
I mean, does anyone really?
But I mean, you were going to bring it up. So what was your original questions or thoughts about it?
Man, like that whole. I feel like. Honestly, I think we're just going to lose Suicide Squad 2 because did you hear for a while though Mel Gibson was going to direct it? You know how insane that would be.
I mean, maybe it would be a good thing. I don't know, because I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like, okay, with the whole Will Smith, it gone off not perfect, but it gone off really well. Why ruin that? I mean, don't get me wrong. In my eyes, why the hell are you ruining a damn good thing?
I know.
I mean, it would be like Samuel L. Jackson saying, "I don't want to be Nick Fury anymore." Like he's damn good at it.
Yeah, he's one. I will say, I'm not a fan of Suicide Squad. I've kind of soured on it since it's been out.
Right.
But I will say, Will Smith is one of the best parts of that movie.
Yeah, and I mean,
Especially when you see him go from, the hardcore shooter, not psychopath, but assassin, to the empathetic dad that is just wanting to see his daughter and trying to make
What
things
about-
right.
well, also, what about reports of? I mean, when the movie came out, they were saying Will Smith did not want to be in The Mask, that much because he gets paid for this. Do you? I mean, what do you say? I mean, it's not like Ben Affleck was complaining about wearing the Batman mask.
Okay, dude, I'm sorry. You're worth fucking how much now? Shove it up your ass and get used to it. Like what? You're worth probably what, 600 million, 800 million now?
Probably not that much.
Jada Pinkett Smith is probably worth just as fucking much as you are.
Probably not
Jaden
so much.
Smith is probably worth over 100 million now. What the hell do these people like? Don't get me wrong. Shit, give me the role. I'll do that bitch for $1 million and a half.
I mean, there's also. I mean, did you like Independence Day 2?
I thought it was it was decent. But I mean,
It was so bad.
without Will Smith, it felt lost.
Well, you can thank Will Smith for that because of his ego.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm so sorry, but these people don't understand. It would be like Tom Hanks saying, "I don't want to be Woody no more. Fuck Toy Story 3 and 4. Why? It was perfect with 1 and 2. Like, dude. I don't get it sometimes.
Jim Parsons can be Woody.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like
I'm gonna sleep that.
it's like Robert Downey Jr. I don't want to be Iron Man anymore. Fuck
But
you.
that's the thing. We were talking about how, I think if Quentin Tarantino, supposedly he's going to retire after his 10th film,
Right.
But the thing is, if he comes up with another story, or if a studio offers him so much money, he'll come back.
Oh yeah.
If they offered Will Smith $50 billion to do it, he would do it.
Yeah. But I do think they saw that Suicide Squad wasn't as negatively reviewed for some reason as Batman vs. Superman. I really enjoyed Batman vs. Superman, the uncut version.
Yeah, the director's cut's much better.
But it's how long we've been doing 25 episodes, and
26 now.
it seems like every week there's been DC news. DC has made the news almost the past 25 weeks. Started off with Aquaman, and then losing supposedly Henry Cavill, and then supposedly, which I guess now we've lost Ben Affleck. I don't know about you guys, but personally, I enjoyed the hell out of Ben Affleck's Batman.
He did good.
Yeah.
He was a great Batman. Maybe not so much a good Bruce Wayne, but he was grizzled. He was grizzled. He was everything you wanted in the
Well, I think he was trying to
Frank
go for-
Miller's Batman.
Yeah, older Batman.
Which I have no problem with.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of like this. Who's done both sides perfectly?
Nobody.
Nobody, because, don't get me wrong, you either have a badass Batman or an awesome...
Which
Bruce,
everybody enjoyed Christian Bale's
I think
Bruce
he
Wayne,
was the closest
but he
one
was
to
the
get it.
smallest.
You
He
know.
was probably the smallest actor that played Batman besides Michael Keaton.
But, honestly, I think he did good as both. I'm not saying he's perfect at it or was great or his Batman surpassed this one's or his Bruce Wayne surpassed...
Nobody can beat George Clooney though.
Oh,
Well,
no.
George Clooney is the
That's a
suave
joke.
guy,
No,
don't get me
George
wrong.
Clooney. Go to hell,
Well,
George
I'm just
Clooney.
saying, in real life, he's kind of seemingly the suave guy,
Which, speaking of DC guys, I did hear, I saw over the week that Shazam is actually getting really good reviews.
Yeah.
Which I really like Zachary Levi. I love him in Chuck. It looks like I saw a trailer for it before Captain Marvel. It looks like a fun film. I'm hoping that's what it's going to be. So
when you walk around with junk food and say, "Hey, I'm a superhero," you're thinking this guy's a total asshole douchebag, or you're thinking he could actually be a superhero that's just a jackass.
What do you?
Okay.
I mean, we'll get ready to cut ties with DC, but
Oh damn.
what happens after Shazam? I mean, do you guys think they're going to continue to do single superhero films, or you think Justice League is dead?
I think, honestly, I hope Justice League is not dead. Well, we'll see, because after Shazam, I don't think we really get another DC until Wonder Woman 84.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think they said that Aquaman 2 will be December 2021, I think.
Well, is
So-
the Joker movie with
That comes out later this year.
I was
That's
about to
right.
say.
I forgot.
I think the only way they might be able to save this Justice League is if they introduce and do the Flash movie and fuck with the timeline.
Yeah.
Get rid of the older Batman and just somehow something different
Keep
happens.
Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman
Yes.
and just get rid of everything else.
Well, I mean,
But I did
honestly,
enjoy Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I would say keep Jason Momoa, because
As
don't get me
Aquaman.
wrong, that's an intimidating ass Aquaman. Don't get me wrong, the old school cartoon Aquaman, you could fucking kick him in the balls and walk away without a care. This one, you're gonna kick him in the balls and fucking run your ass off just because he's probably gonna beat your ass like Khal Drogo.
Well,
I
he
mean,
took my
you know.
job. Dang it.
I mean, you can always have Roman Reigns as Aquaman too. So
Have you seen? I forget the show it is on, but it's a talk show that always has some several different actors or actresses or entertainers, and they always talk about different things. And Jason Momoa actually still knows some Dothraki,
Yeah.
and it's really cool. He was actually talking to a woman, an actress on the show, and then he talked to a male, an actor. I thought that was an amazing thing. But I mean, they've got to kind of have actors that are 100% on, because with Robert Downey Jr., he was on for 3 films. Kind of started after 2 yes and no here and there. Now he's kind of more of a mentor. I mean, Tony Stark, Iron Man, could die in game.
Right.
I mean, it's an honest possibility. The only one to do a superhero or a comic superhero for a long period of time, Hugh Jackman. He did Wolverine
yeah.
for 20 years, or at least 16, 17 years practically.
Yeah.
Over, 10 films, 12 films? With a couple of them were cameos, sure. But, I mean, he still put the boots and the claws and the hair and the fucking chops on and all that shit. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I never heard him bitching and crying, I'm not making $25 million because whatever.
well,
Shoved up your ass. Take the $20 million and buy yourself a big dildo and go fuck yourself. I don't know what to tell you.
That's Edward Berry at...
At me. I said it earlier.
But we got some questions coming in from the Facebook Live video I did earlier today about the most anticipated movie that we've been getting ready to do all year for 2019. But right now we are getting ready to talk about our top 5. Alright, and Zach, this is from your brainchild. One of the top 5 this week is going to be our top 5 most anticipated films of 2019. We're talking movies from from January 2019 to December 2019.
What I did,
excluding Endgame, because let's face it,
we were all gonna have that number 1.
Does
these others? I don't know.
Does anybody else have any honorable mentions? Or?
I have 4 because I'm such a nerd.
Well, we'll go ahead and we'll start with you then with your honorable mentions.
So I'm just gonna go through these pretty quick. Like I said, I saw the trailer for X-Men Dark Phoenix. I'm actually a little bit more excited about that because, well, the first trailer wasn't very good, but it's piqued my interest. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino. Got to check out the new Tarantino. Star Wars Episode 9. We don't have a title yet. That should be coming probably here in a couple months. And here in about 2 weeks, I think, Jordan Peele's Us, which have gotten pretty good reviews so far. So, Ed, do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I've actually got 3 myself. Pretty much the reason these 3 aren't in my top 5 is because they're all Disney, and I didn't want to go ahead and be like I'm going to rate this one above this. Pretty much these 3 are I'm kind of excited for all 3. It is Aladdin, Dumbo, and Lion King.
Those are the 3 I was going to guess.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, Aladdin, I'm kind of getting a little more comfortable with the Will Smith genie, which, while you're doing this, and you're kind of having a fit over the other shit, I don't know, but cool. Whatever. But I'm looking forward to all 3 of those, to be fully honest, just because fans of all 3 of came out during, 2 of them came out during my childhood. 1 predated me by a while. I think predates all 3 of us.
It was only 3 years, Edward. Let's calm down.
My honorable mentions is going to be Godzilla, King of All Monsters, Hellboy. I enjoyed the first 2 Del Toro Hellboys.
I think those are underrated.
They're
fun.
Ron Perlman, to me, he's one of those. He's that actor that's going to be Hellboy forever.
Yeah.
And then the new Terminator. Now before I knew I was going to get one of those reactions. But before anything, you
better have a good excuse for this.
two words, but it's her name, and it's Linda Hamilton. I'm really interested to see how Linda Hamilton reprises her role of Sarah Connor.
Swing.
Not even 20 years ago. I want to see, how good is the CGI? What are they going to make Arnold look at? I mean, that's what keeps me interested in these Terminator movies. Like, how the hell are they going to make him look like they did 30 years ago?
Well, really, in part of my movie news that we didn't get to, I read a thing saying that they did, I guess Arnold Schwarzenegger did an interview recently, and they said that his words, that James Cameron is heavily involved in Terminator 6. He's not directing it.
He's not directing it, but he does now have the rights to it again.
Which why he just directs it.
Right. Which he didn't have the rights to it when they did Terminator 3, and then, 3, 4, and 5. He just recently got the rights back to it because of his wife. I don't know.
Swing.
But I'm interested in Terminator. I really want to see it. So those are my honorable mentions.
Oh God! All right. So do you want who? Now I'm gonna do 5 to 1. Do you want to go first?
I'll start off with my number 5, and it's because I'm a DC guy, and that's Joker. I want to see how good Joaquin Phoenix is going to be. He looks like he's a little bit more darker. He's more grittier than Jared Leto's Joker, but you know what surprised me in this movie is when you look at him up on IMDb, the name I don't recognize the name. It's not it's not Jack Napier. It's not the Joker. I don't know where that name came from. I mean, probably got to do a little bit more digging, but it's just a name I'm not familiar with. And then I want to see if there's any kind of cameos, if there's any mentioning to any kind of Batmans or any kind of other villains.
I don't know. I don't know. Clooney. Well, the all Batman we know and love. I don't think this Joker film has anything to do with the DC universe.
You don't think so?
I think I've just heard reports it's just its own thing. We're going to make our own Batman because supposedly Jared Leto and Margot Robbie are going to come back for that version. Not so much Suicide Squad, but just like the Birds of Prey or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Margot Robbie's in that.
And then Joaquin Phoenix is going to have his own thing. So
you have two different timelines, and I'm not. See, that's why DC is just always in the movie news here at this Cine-Men podcast, because we don't know what the fuck they are doing. You got two different timelines. You got two different Jokers. Just
go. Put your hands on something. Both hands on something at all times.
Sounds like Sony with the Ghostbusters universe.
Hey.
So whoever wants to go to number 5 next?
Jed? Been looking forward to this one. Old remake, basically. They're doing a lot of them these days. Pet Sematary is a new one. I'm looking forward to when we finally get to go back to our roots. With that little horror stunts. Gonna love that. But yeah, definitely want to see where they keep it the same, keep their roots, where they change it up. Because, everybody knows pets are gonna die. Just how? Are you really going to keep burying? When do we stop fucking with native burial grounds? When do we stop fucking with that stuff? Why do we still fuck with it? I don't get that. That's not number 5. Yeah,
I don't know how I can follow that up, but all right. Number 5 for me is a sequel, like everything else we get in this movie world. Toy Story 4. Yep. I love Toy Story. 3 was, I think all of us can agree, was the perfect ending to that trilogy. So maybe with this 4th one, I've heard it's just like a spin-off or just its own individual story. I don't think it's going to be any more after that.
I think everybody wants to know what the fuck is up with the spork.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And supposedly, the main storyline is Woody has to go... not capture, but rescue
Bo Peep.
Bo Peep, yes, thank you.
So kind of the wow, okay, it's doing a full circle thing, because in the first, we've got him playing with them in the little town he made, rescuing Bo Peep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of made a full circle. That's kind of funny, actually. But we'll see.
What's your number 4 one?
My number 4 is going to be A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with Tom Hanks.
I forgot about that.
Watching the documentary just made me realize what movie is coming up. And Tom Hanks, I hear that, but looking at the documentary and watching Fred Rogers be himself in some of these interviews, he's got that lisp. Tom Hanks can be a soft-spoken person.
Right.
But I said this name earlier, and I'm like, who really reminds me of Fred Rogers?
Who's that?
Jim Parsons.
Yeah,
Jim Parsons,
slinky,
and then the almost the exact same kind of voice, soft-spoken person. But Tom Hanks blows anybody out of the water. But I'm interested to see how this goes, and I want to see the timeline of the movie. Mm-hmm. He looks in the photo. He looks like an older
Mr.
Fred Rogers.
Did you feel after you watched that documentary you're such an asshole? like Mr. Rogers is like the best person on the face of the earth.
In the movie, they called him the Second Christ.
Yeah.
Like,
my thing is he could beat your ass too. I mean, he was a fucking SEAL.
yeah, that's true.
I don't get me wrong, he's a fucking SEAL. You'd figure, one of those guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. I use a lot of provocative and foul language, so I'm sorry.
That's Edward Berry.
It's whichever. But I mean, you'd figure he'd talk like that. You'd figure he'd probably be, tattooed from neck to practical toe.
Well, in the documentary,
like
they do ask if he ever had any of those kind of tattoos because he was always covered up, never let anything else show.
Right.
So we never really know or knew
he might
if
have had his insignia or his,
So, but my number 4 is going to be A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And Ed, what's your number 4?
My number 4, I'm kind of going into an old childhood favorite, Pikachu.
Oh.
Detective Pikachu. I'm interested in this because now, first off, I want to get this out of the air. I don't know what his name is, but the young actor that's in that
Justin
is
Smith.
okay.
He was from Fallen Kingdom.
Justin Smith.
Yeah.
They need to sign him up for a freaking Miles Morales future Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2021 or whatever.
Doesn't that... Hold on a second. That comes out Tuesday, doesn't it?
No. It's next week.
They need to sign that kid up and make him Miles Morales because that's all he reminds me of, literally. But I mean, as far as Pikachu itself or himself goes, because this is a male Pikachu.
You're excited for Ryan Reynolds' sexy voice?
I don't... Well... How is this going to be pulled off with Ryan Reynolds? Because, of course, an Asian woman plays Pikachu's real voice.
Right.
The Pika stuff.
This is the American version.
Well, even in the American version, an Asian woman plays, they still use the actual, stuff. But I just want to know, like, how, because, I mean, you see some of his personality and character in the trailers, but with Ryan Reynolds... He plays Deadpool perfectly. He basically was born to play Deadpool. Mm-hmm. He really was, in my eyes. I think so. But with the Pikachu, like, how? Because I mean, don't get me wrong. With the whole Mr. Mime scene, I think that'll probably be my favorite one. And I don't think they should have released that because that's freaking gold in my eyes.
I've only seen the trailer that one time that it came out, but I mean, I don't know enough about Pokemon or Pikachu to be hyped up about it. But I mean, it's something I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
That would be me.
I just
I thought you were going to say Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh.
No,
Is that your number one?
No.
Okay.
It's honestly, I did forget about that. I thought it was, but it just looks a little weird. Plus, I wasn't really a big Sonic person growing up. I mean,
only during happy hour.
I'd play the, not really.
No, I'm talking about me.
I know. I'd play the game, but it wasn't like I'd have rather played Spyro or Crash personally. But I mean, I wasn't a huge Sonic fan. So, coming off of that, Zach, how about your number 4?
Number 4 for me has been mentioned in your honorable mention, and I rewatched the trailer. I saw the trailer again when I saw Captain Marvel. I saw it in the IMAX, and guys, this looks insane in IMAX. The Lion King. When it goes into the opening song, it like everyone in the theater was just like, "Holy shit!" Yes. Like I just got goosebumps. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be epic!" in IMAX, and the cast is just. It looks like Donald Glover as Simba. It fits as an older Simba.
Well,
and they got Beyonce, and they even got James Earl Jones back.
Seth Rogen
It's just.
Zazu?
I'm gonna go
No,
see.
he's-
I'm gonna.
no, he's playing,
He's Pumbaa.
Pumbaa,
I'm gonna go see it just for Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Okay, Actually, the guy's a brilliant man. Like, real talk, he's brilliant. Like, I mean, I know he does a lot of dumb shit, but he's brilliant.
But yeah, man, Lion King. I saw the Super Bowl ad for it, and I feel
like every episode we talked about the Lion King somehow.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing, but I could just imagine the IMAX trailer was probably fucking phenomenal.
Man. And it's actually real IMAX, where they use the entire screen.
Did you go to what IMAX did you go to? The Warren?
The Warren, yeah.
Number 3 for me is going to be, you mentioned it earlier, Zach, and that's Toy Story 4.
You just want to play with Woody and Buzz.
I'd rather play with Slink. If I'll be honest
be
with
honest. You want the spork. Be
Um,
honest.
as long as Woody doesn't use the spork like they did in Sausage Party,
Oh.
as long as they stay away from detail like that. But guys, I want to mention something to you, and it's kind of like going away from things now. But I mean,
I think I know where you're going with this.
you don't. But the way Disney is, and the way Disney is with James Gunn, and what they kind of did the boot with him.
Yeah.
The only reason I mentioned Toy Story 4 is I'm interested in it. I mean, I love all three of them. They should have ended it with 3.
I cried.
But
Who didn't?
why are they...
Paul Walker.
No. Tim Allen, I don't know if you guys know, but in the 90s, he had a huge drug problem, had a big alcohol problem. So many DUIs, so many tickets, and yet they covered him up.
So your question is why is he not getting the boot?
Exactly. Why? What's different between him and James Gunn? Like, and Buzz acts drunk as fuck in the second Toy Story. He's fucking buzzed. But what I'm trying to say is, if you're gonna shame one, shame everybody.
Because he's the tool man. Who the fuck do you think he is?
Now,
and he's the last man standing.
And that's the thing.
Nice.
That's the thing. Patricia, I forget her name, but the one who played the wife in Home Improvement.
Yeah.
They all work for Disney.
Right.
Disney produced that show, and she felt like she was completely being shoved to the side because he's getting all the money, he's getting all the love, and he was pretty much untouchable. The only reason I bring that up while I'm talking about my number 3 is because Guardians of the Galaxy is millions of dollar box office budget for Disney, and they kind of just gave James Gunn the boot. And I'm like,
well, use your shit, but who are you again? Basically, I mean, that's what they did.
But that's the thing, a week before Toy Story 4 comes out, something to come out about Tim Allen's that, it's like, I guess we got to reshoot the whole entire film or do his voice all over again. But I think because we know Tom Hanks, Woody, we know that's why he hasn't got the boot. We know Tim Allen as Buzz. They're not going to replace him with, the Affleck duck guy or whatever,
But it's just one of those things. I mean, I'm excited for Toy Story 4. I'm glad that all those characters come back and all the voiceover actors are coming back. But it was just one of those things that I wanted to touch on, get off my shoulder. So, appreciate it. But yeah, my number 3 is sitting at a salty number 3 with Toy Story 4. What's your number 3?
My number 3, you've already mentioned it, Zach, is
Fuck
Dark
me.
Phoenix.
Mm.
I am ready to see Sophie Turner on the big screen.
Are you wanting to see? Are you ready for her, or are you just ready for her to kick ass?
Both.
Did you not see her on the big screen before?
Yeah, but shit, is one of my favorite female X-Men. Don't get me wrong. Dark Phoenix is pretty much arguably the most powerful in the X-Men universe.
Halle Berry is probably still my favorite.
Still not as powerful as Jean Grey, though. Just saying. Jean Grey would wipe the fucking floor with her. But anyways, moving on from that, yeah, Dark Phoenix. I'm excited to see the X-Men cast. Pretty much the only other thing that I'm interested in with the X-Men is, are they going to carry X-23 on? Are they going to do Draken? Are they going to do, a reboot of Wolverine?
You're talking about what Disney's going to do.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, because, of course, with Draken, they've got Wolverine's son, X-24, with,
from everything,
X-23,
from
his clone daughter.
And it's sad, but from everything I've read, Disney is going to just wipe the slate clean. They're going to...
Which I think is fine. I knew with Dark Phoenix and New Mutants coming out like a month later, I think they've pretty much done everything they can with this X-Men.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if they started over just because, we don't have
Hugh
Jackman anymore.
Right,
so.
I mean, it's not like we're going to get an X-Men movie next year, so they're probably going to have a 2 or 3 year layoff.
The only thing that could keep this X-Men alive is Deadpool. Because Ryan Reynolds is, if he decides to do a third film.
But they might as well just, put him with the MCU, as in not necessarily the Avengers, but, in his own little of sorts timeline to where he can pop in and out of different shit. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, you've got, I think, two people that would be not a takeover from Stan Lee's cameo appearances, but maybe a shoe-in or a sub-in, I guess you could say. And I'd say either one is kind of an obvious, Deadpool or Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, or Wade Wilson. And the other one is kind of less obvious, but still big if you're into comics and to the lore and all that stuff. Kevin Smith. You know, a lot of people have... I seen a video of him that I know we talked about this a bit earlier, but I was reading comment after comment after comment after comment that was like, yeah, Kevin Smith as, you know, the cameo sub-in, basically, because is anyone going to be as good as Stanley? No. Whether it's just one line, whether it's 6 lines, whether it's a whole paragraph, or whether it's 1 word or 2 words, enough said.
Well, you know, I think they could still do Stanley, but not, obviously, he's no longer with us, rest in peace. But he could do something to the extent of, like, where's Waldo? Like, they have a picture of him in the background.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, there he is right there. You know?
That's a good idea. I haven't thought about that one. But Dark Phoenix is your number 3. Zach?
My number 3 is really, I don't know, I'm kind of surprised you haven't mentioned this one yet. I don't know if it's going to be your top 5. I'm really looking forward to it. John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum.
Gotcha.
Those first 2 films they're just fucking fun action films, and Keanu Reeves is such a badass in that role. I really do hope that I think this is going to be the last in this trilogy, which, you know, even Keanu Reeves is like, look, we don't want to do this to the point of, like, exhaustion.
Right.
So,
which is smart.
Yeah.
Fast and the Furious, are you listening? Because shit, you should have cut it after 5.
Really, I enjoyed 6, and I think after 7 they should have ended it with Paul Walker.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. 7 had its moments, but after they started doing the we are world spy racer guys, no, like, okay. The thing that made
damn, you got him started on Fast and the Furious.
The thing that made them
I apologize, guys.
Was this shit that, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's why the Street Outlaws has taken off. Guys want to see, or I'm sorry, not even just guys, but car people want to see shit that they could actually do. Yes, Street Outlaws, 2,500-3,000 horsepower is a huge fucking thing, but my thing is it's accomplishable by real people with the right backing and the right parts and the right, you know, knowledge.
You guys are probably gonna hate me, but like, I own all of them just because I'm fucking...
Oh, I didn't say they're...
No. I'm about to. But, like, I own all of them just because I'm OCD. If I have one, I have to have them all.
Right.
But to me, they all sucked after the first one.
Well, I mean, 2 was okay, but it was too much, oh, we're buddy, bro, yeah.
Eva Mendes was the only good thing about 2.
Oh, I will definitely agree about that shit.
But, I mean, to me, like, the first one was so original, and it was that high-pace, speed-like car movie. Mm-hmm. After that one, it just felt overused, and,
See, for me, it's 5, 6, and 7. After, rest in peace, Paul Walker, with 8, I'm just like, what? Why are we doing this? And I did catch a contradiction.
That's the one with Charlize Theron, right?
Yeah. Okay. I did catch a contradiction at the end of 8, which I'll talk about off the air. But anyway, my number 3 is John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum.
How the hell did we get on Fast and the Furious?
Sorry.
What's your number 2?
Number 2 for me is going to be Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with a cast like Tim Roth, Kurt Russell, Al Pacino, Brad Pitt, Dakota Fanning, Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, and
Dakota Fanning's in it?
Yeah.
Really?
And
I'll watch it.
Luke Perry. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, right. Luke Perry.
Because he took over the role for Burt Reynolds. That was his role. So that's contradictory. There must be something with that role.
It's bad luck. But no, I mean,
Crow 2? And
I didn't know that Luke Perry's, I mean, this is off topic, but it's Sunday, I'm a wrestling fan. Luke Perry's son is actually a professional wrestler.
Oh, yeah?
Didn't know that. But directed by Quentin Tarantino, written by Quentin Tarantino. I go check everything he does. I go see it. So, favorite director. Number 2 for me.
Number 2 for me. I've been mentioning this quite a bit here and there. I'm in love with the characters and the readaptation of this and the just the overall feel of these 2 movies. It Chapter 2, The Losers Club. I am so fucking ready for this. You have no idea.
Hey, you want to hear something funny? That's my number 2. It Chapter 2 is number 2 for me.
Oh, that's kind of.
I'm actually
pretty cool.
and I'm actually reading the book right now.
Yeah.
I'm only like 70 pages into it because it's like 80 billion pages.
Oh god.
But
Okay.
it's
Okay,
I'm excited for it.
I'm at like 865.
Really?
Yeah.
You're reading it too?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've heard that like, and you don't have to spoil anything, but it has something to do with the future film. I've just heard that the book.
Truthfully, I've stopped kind of reading into a lot of the future film. Yeah.
But is it? I just heard it's like a lot more graphic than the actual movie was.
Well, I mean, Bill Hader and James McVoy. James McVoy has actually been injured on set. Was injured within the first 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Double thigh tear, tear in his thighs. So he's good. Killed it now. Let's see.
That's why he's in a wheelchair in X-Men.
Oh damn! I mean, Bill Hader has been scared shitless on set. Jessica Chastain as well.
And I don't know if you've heard this, but Jessica Chastain in a recent interview said that this film has like the bloodiest scene in all of film history.
Well, let me don't get me wrong. You've got so many different kills in the book from the older side of the Losers Club that it's not even funny. And I mean, so you're probably around the part where they
I'm at the part
under the bridge.
No, I'm at,
No,
I'm just
okay.
like I'm at the part where the adult versions of each kid are being introduced. So I'm on Ben right now.
Well, I mean, it goes through, and the book is, you've got to pay attention with the book because it is a very confusing little monster, and you really have to really pay attention. I mean, in all honesty, you do, because you can get lost very, very easily. Mm-hmm. with it, because it'll go back and forth in time, then it'll switch, then it'll go back and forth again, then it'll switch again, and it's just like, well, what the hell are we doing here? Because it'll tell of little murders and all that stuff.
Wait, what are we talking about?
That Pennywise has gone across and done, and then why the cops are investigating it, and why they aren't, and why the hell they don't give a shit, and why none of the fucking adults give a shit, and why the Losers Club, except for Mike. I mean,
I thought the first one was really noteworthy of saying, hey, this is what we can take of a horror classic. Yes, it was made for TV miniseries,
right.
But at the time it was different. It was good. But I really like how they took that version, made it 10 times darker, and just threw it out there for everybody. And let's face it, horror sells. It doesn't matter if it's Slender Man, The Bye-Bye Man, or Halloween 2018. Horror always finishes top 3, no matter what it is at the box office.
What are we doing wrong?
So people like to be scared. But as far as this one goes, It Chapter 2, I think it'll own the box office.
Oh, it's going to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with me, one thing I wonder is, a big part of this is Bill Skarsgård and his natural abilities. Not talents, but abilities. What he can do with his face.
What else has he done besides this?
He's actually in, ironically enough, he's in that Hulu show Castle Rock.
He was in Deadpool 2 as one of the X-Force.
Oh, that's
he was
right,
the one
he
who
was.
vomited up acid.
Oh, yeah.
And he went through the
But as far as like this goes, though, this is his like definitive role.
Yeah, it's
that's
his
what he's
bust
done.
out
Okay.
role. Yeah. Funny enough, he's actually
because like I thought his brother killed his Tarzan.
Yeah, I was about to say brother of Alexander Skarsgård. He's I forget his name,
Alexander Skarsgård. Yeah.
Which I'm excited for the new movie he's coming out in. He's in a new movie.
Yeah.
Who isn't though?
He's Stephen Skarsgård's son, who you'll recognize as the scientist from the Thor movies. Mm-hmm.
So that whole family can pretty much do it.
Yeah,
so you both tied then. Both your 2s is.
I thought that would be your number 1.
It Chapter 2.
Not quite.
Number 1
But
needs to be something
it's
else.
literally barely number 2. Barely
So-
number 2. So what is
What's your number
2,
1?
big guy?
Everybody should probably know Star Wars Episode 9. Man, growing up with these movies, I go see them every year in theaters. I didn't get to go see the original ones.
Every year?
Fucking terrible. Whenever they fucking come out. Everybody shit on Solo. I thought Solo was amazing.
I did too.
Spoiler alert, the Darth Maul scene I thought was fucking terrific.
I was not expecting that at all.
But I kind of hope they do pick it up. I mean, they're all three signed to, 3 motion pictures. So I hope they do continue on. Rogue One, to me, was amazing. And I think we're going to have to do an episode. We're going to do a whole episode on The Last Jedi. But I do not know what's up with The Last Jedi. Me being a hardcore, definitive Star Wars fan, I'm talking about, like, to the final teat of the franchise. To where I can go back and watch 1, 2, and 3. Is it my favorite? No. But I appreciate for what they were putting out there as far as what kind of story they wanted to tell. The Last Jedi, it might have not have been what traditionalist fans wanted. But, I mean, Rian Johnson, as a director, is known for doing pretty much what the fuck he wants to.
Right.
And, I mean, it's not like Disney watched it and said, oh, this is terrible, and released it anyway.
Well, J.J. Abrams said it was the best script he ever read.
Right.
For a Star Wars film.
It's different, and it's its own film. And that's what I liked about it. I went in there thinking, I was hyped up, and I think I was the only one on that row that just fucking clapped when the movie was over. You get rid of him. Luke Skywalker does not need to be in every single one, even though he's going to be in 9. But I mean, he doesn't need to be the focal point. And I know everybody was looking up and wanting to see Luke Skywalker just have that lightsaber and just kick ass. But you got to look at the story that they told. He's an old gunslinger, pretty much. He's
Nine, basically.
Right, but he lived that life. He was the badass Jedi. Look what he had to go through with his dad, with Vader. But I mean, as far as I see it, I look at it as like Luke being an old gunslinger who was probably,
burnt by the gun.
Exactly. So I don't mind the way they wrote him off. I don't mind the way they wrote Han Solo off. And the only thing, kind of issue I kind of had with it was Rey's parents.
Well, it was. I think there's been a lot of there's been a lot of theories about like supposedly they're old slaves or whatever.
Right.
I think in this next one
you'll find out who they are.
Find the truth.
Because in in episode 7, she pretty much kicked his ass in the snow, and then Snoke pretty much tells him that this person who had no training kicked the shit out of you, and so I think there's some kind of truth behind that. People shit on The Last Jedi now, but in December, I think there's going to be enough tie-ins that people are like, oh, I want to go back and fucking watch it. So, I mean...
if we're going to do an episode on The Last Jedi, I'll say my thoughts. It's not... I'm not...
Go ahead. I mean,
what I'll say about it is... Was it... And I'd be contradicting myself because I enjoyed it when I saw it in the theaters. Except for that damn... Mary Poppins Princess Leia scene.
That's true. That
blown out and then chimney back to the
That's the issue I had with it too, because in the older movies, you could tell, especially in Return of the Jedi, she had some sense and she felt what was going on. She could feel it. Now, no telling how stronger she got between the time, between the movies.
And here's the thing. Just due to the circumstances of Carrie Fisher's death, I really thought, oh, that's it. They blew her out of space. That's it.
You know what I heard? Is I did hear that she was originally supposed to die in this movie. But after her death, they did not want to kill her.
And she'll
off.
be a 9.
Right.
Supposedly it's footage from episode 7 that they didn't use.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's like this. If you look at the expanded universe of the Star Wars, she actually becomes a Jedi and all that.
But
full-fledged master Jedi.
Yeah, but none of that matters. Disney already wrote it off.
I'm not saying
and
it is, but...
the moment Disney bought it, they said none of that exists. We're focusing on the film. None of the comic books exist. None of the.
So other than the midichlorian count in her obvious gene pool in DNA, I mean, what is she like? No training, just like Rey. Oh, I'm force sensitive.
Well, exactly. But in Return of the Jedi, you see her. She can just feel that something is going on.
I mean, who the fuck is she? Superman? I can breathe in space and I'm gonna fly back home.
You will not disrespect the good name of Star Wars.
If you want to give out the email again, that's fine.
Yeah, fuck it. But Yeah, no, I actually did enjoy Last Jedi. I really did.
The only thing I really wish that they didn't do was I wish Solo was left for
A Christmas
a
release.
Christmas release. I think
it would have been.
it would have gotten
well
more money.
received. Yeah.
I think if it went up, it had a better shot going up against Aquaman than it did going against the Avengers. I mean, because it came out literally 4 or 5 weeks after the Avengers did, and I really wish they would have held off on it.
Clearly, one made more money than the other.
Yeah.
So,
So
and
that equals out my top 5.
Yeah, my number 1, you bastard, you already fucking took it. But John Wick Chapter 3. I want to see if the bastard gets to kill a bunch of people, or it gets ass raped in it, or if, he actually sells the dog this time. Like,
And
which
Halle
one?
Berry's in it, so.
I mean, he probably won't get ass raped then by Halle Berry. Not a bad circumstance, but hey, whatever. No, I really do. I'm really serious because I've watched different videos of Keanu Reeves himself literally training for the role to look like he can handle a gun or a firearm or a weapon. And as far as I'm fucking thoughts on it, that man's a badass at handling a weapon. I mean, in all honesty, he's a badass at handling a weapon. The guy can run a freaking drill like no other joke. And, to be an actor, it's really cool to see that you get into your craft that much. But, I mean, we'll see how good it is. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward for the whole assassin world coming after John Wick.
And then there's word that there's going to be
Baba
a series. Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be on Amazon or one of those streaming services?
Yeah, I think it's like Amazon
It's
Prime.
It'd be cool if they did like a prequel. Is it supposed to be like a prequel?
But I heard
series?
Keanu Reeves was signed up to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I wouldn't mind seeing why they call him the Baba Yaga. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
As long as he gets like a beagle puppy again, I'm good.
It's Boogeyman in Russian.
I mean, yeah, that'd be nice. I would like to see a prequel, like you said, Zach. But I mean, that rounds up our top 5.
Let me do my top one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me do number 1. I know we got to get to Captain Marvel, so my number 1 is Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Oh my god,
dude!
I can't
wait for that. That besides the fact that you got Godzilla, and then you got Rodan, and then Mothra, and then the freaking Nemesis, King Ghidorah, which looks insane. Well, that second trailer where they're running in the city clash.
That's a movie. That's a movie that I'm sorry, anybody out there, but you have to see that movie in IMAX.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong though. That's a lot. I mean, is this going to be a world fight? Like everybody on everybody?
Well, you know that they're doing their own universe now.
Yeah, but I mean, is it everybody on everybody, or is it just everybody on Godzilla and the world?
I have a theory that between the big battle between Godzilla and King Ghidorah, I feel like Kong is going to somehow come into the mix.
I've heard, but
get Rampage going.
Well, I heard that there might be a small end credit scene with Kong, but you got to remember, in Skull Island, that was a young Kong.
Yeah.
That was
this dude is supposed to be
right. That was baby Kong.
Yeah.
Which I mean, we are going to do a Skull Island episode before we go see King of Monsters.
And I mean, he already did beat the shit out of a lizard before, so.
But yeah, I mean, I was gonna put Godzilla. I was going to put that... Honestly, you guys might hate me, but I was going to put that above Toy Story. I was going to leave Toy Story out. But Godzilla, I saw the trailer, and I don't see how that movie is just... I really hope it does well at the box office.
Oh, yeah.
I think the thing is, with the first Godzilla, which I think is a very good film, we didn't have enough... It was only 10 minutes of Godzilla. The Eve's like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to put as much Godzilla on this as we possibly can.
Yeah. I thought, I mean, when you see Bryan Cranston in a Godzilla movie, I was fucking excited.
And I was like, hell yeah, Eisenberg and Godzilla.
Let's make some meth under the sea, apparently.
Yeah, but I'm excited for it. I enjoyed Skull Island. I enjoyed Godzilla. But speaking of Skull Island, that ties into the episode 2 today. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Marvel.
Pretty much.
guess I think we're gonna go higher, further, and faster into Captain Marvel. I mean, yeah, it looks pretty damn good.
Man, it was one that we were waiting on all year. Like we touched on it in the beginning of the episode. The moment that pager dropped and you saw the
Are you okay?
first thoughts. I mean, first thoughts on the movie.
Honestly, criticize me if you want. Call me a weird ass. Call me a kiss ass, or oh, you've only seen it once. I think it's Guardians of the Galaxy 1 good. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I thought Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was badass as hell. And literally, to me, I think this is probably one of the strongest Marvel movies to date.
Well, I did the Facebook Live video earlier today, and I got some questions. So, since she got her powers from the Lightspeed engine, which is powered by the Tesseract, wouldn't that mean her powers are controlled by the Mind Stone?
No.
No.
And that question was from Craig Waters. We all know who Craig is. And then he followed up by saying, also, wouldn't that mean that Vision is just as strong as she is?
Maybe not as in full abilities.
So
'cause, I mean,
we'll stick with the first question. If one of you guys want to answer it and explain why.
You're the comic guy, so you
a little bit here and there. I mean, I'm not full 100%, but no, it wouldn't be controlled by the Mind Stone at all. It wouldn't be controlled by any of the stones for.
No, he's saying that the Tesseract is powered by the engine.
Right.
So since he got her powers from that, are her powers controlled by the Mind Stone, or could they be?
I don't think so, just because they're kind of an organic thing with her now. You know, it's kind of like with Superman and his abilities. You know what I mean?
So would she then have some kind of kryptonite then?
Possible, but doubtful.
Because every hero has a weakness.
It's possible. I mean, I really didn't think about that until the stone. What'd you say? The Mind Stone?
Yeah.
Right.
On Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet, that could be her weakness.
But the gauntlet's destroyed now.
But the stones aren't.
The stones aren't. No.
True, but I mean, you can't harness.
I mean,
all
he
of
could
them unless,
he could take the stone, just like put it on her, and maybe it like makes her weaker or something. Yeah.
Something. But I mean, as far as we already seen her.
And then,
her will
right,
power.
and then we talked about this when we went to go see it. That we didn't think anybody was as strong as her. They can't fly like she can. But that's a good question. Vision almost kind of does some of the exact same thing she does.
Right.
So but Vision is dead at the moment. So bringing Vision back, what kind of
spoiler heavy going from now forward. Spoiler heavy. So if you are wanting to actually not hear about the movie just yet, I advise you to go ahead and click off. Continue at a later time.
Yeah, I mean, click off.
Yeah, please go see Captain Marvel if you haven't.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I don't know.
stick around.
I don't know if you have. Why haven't you seen this at this point?
Well, I mean, work sometimes dictates. I mean, I know some people who work
Fuck that.
7 days a week and 12 hours a day. So I mean,
Go see it at Crossroads AMC. $6. If you can't afford $6, find $6. If you can't find $6, steal $6 from your mom's purse. Go down to AMC Crossroads or wherever your local theater is. Check this movie out, guys. In all seriousness, it's a really good film.
Yes.
It was one of the better Marvel movies I've seen. I got scrutinized for saying I thought it was just as good, if not better, than Black Panther.
Yeah, I will say that. I mean, maybe. I'll definitely agree with that. I will.
Well, I mean, that's what we're here for. We're going to talk about it. We're gonna give our opinions on it. We're going to dig into it. We're going to give star rating at the end. And we're gonna talk about why some certain other people gave them such a lower rating. But yeah, those two questions. Vision, do you think he comes back? And do you think maybe the colors are almost similar?
I don't think Vision will come back. I think Jarvis will come back, but I don't think Vision will.
Well, I mean,
because
Jarvis is a program.
Right, and I think that stone was obviously intricate to his making. But now that it's gone, and if they destroy the stones, Jarvis will come back, but not Vision.
Well, I mean, on top of that, would that mean that a part of Ultron could come back then? Because, I mean...
we talked about this in the Ultron episode, we
Ultron with Jarvis made Vision, basically, with the Mind Stone, of course.
Right.
But, I mean, then you've got the question going forward, which this one isn't answerable, but, does the Mind Stone or the Soul Stone, one of the two, go to Adam Warlock? More of the Soul Stone, because that's originally how it was found in comic lore, at least. But, I mean, maybe they'll switch it up, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, starring Samuel Jackson, Brie Larson. How awesome was the pick of Brie Larson for Captain Marvel? I mean,
I thought she was really good.
Wasn't sure at first. I mean, I hadn't seen Brie Larson in a bunch of stuff personally. On top of that, just almost didn't feel right in the trailer. It just felt like they were too connected. But then how the story played out when you watch the movie, I think she's really appropriate for the role. I think I don't necessarily think like Ryan Reynolds Deadpool born for it, but I definitely think she is a great fit. Just like that suit was a great fit on her.
And the thing I like about it is Marvel is using more of their bang for their bucks. Like they're starting to go out and get a lot of Oscar-winning actors and actresses to play some of these roles.
Well, I mean, you've got to think. You can be remembered for small roles or movies that aren't going to be huge, or you can be remembered as one of the MCU Marvel hard hitters. I mean, don't get me wrong.
So the film opens up, and we see how she these flashbacks are a constant in the film.
Yeah.
And then you see how she is kind of just interacting, and we don't know it, but she's playing ball with the wrong team.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, as far as actors go, the only thing I didn't like about the movie was Jude Law. Not a Jude Law fan. I didn't enjoy him in this role.
I think he played his role good.
I just don't like the actor.
I mean, I think he did good for his role because, the guy who is, you think a mentor and all that, which he still was a mentor, turns out to be basically the villain of the film.
What about you? Do you have any negatives about any of the movie, or did you enjoy everything?
So
I have no negatives, honestly, personally. Sorry.
I'm probably going to be the
sourpuss of the bunch.
Yeah.
It's alright.
And I'm not to say I think it's a very... I got to see it twice.
This motherfucker.
Well, I told you I saw it twice, too.
You motherfuckers.
Well, do you want to tell them now or later?
No, we
I already know you jerk circled it. It's cool. It's cool.
So...
Without the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah, there's that... So, the first time we saw it, I liked it. I really liked it. The second viewing that I had problems.
See, I was kind of the opposite.
Did you like it more the second time?
I liked it more the second time. It also could have helped that I was up the entire day on Tuesday, and then I had to go to work that night. But I mean, I really enjoyed it the second time around. But going into it the first time, I don't know if it's because I was a little tired, but it kind of dragged a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then it really started to pick up on the train scene.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And I don't know if it...
shit out of that woman.
Which I don't know if it was just the theater we were in, but the screen was dark, and when I saw it in the IMAX, everything was just bright.
See, that's another thing. The screen was perfect at AMC. The screen was dark at Harkins. Mm-hmm. The sound was terrible at AMC.
Yeah, it was.
I couldn't hear a fucking thing. AMC Crossroads, let me tell you something.
Uh-oh.
I don't go on many rants. I appreciate the entire hard work that everybody does on these films and everything that, some of these theater workers do. We've all three actually worked at a theater.
Yeah.
But the first off, the presentation and the drink area.
I mean,
If AMC Crossroads, I probably dug our own grave there, but I didn't want to be elbow to elbow with somebody. I wanted to go to see it at the Warren, but I didn't want to be elbow to elbow with somebody.
We literally weren't in there with more than
15 people.
Dude, when I saw it in the IMAX on Friday night, it was packed.
Yeah.
Only the first row was open.
But as far as the presentation goes, the sound was terrible at the AMC. very bad. I mean, but I kind of wish that man, presentation goes for that theater. I mean, I would like to say that I'd go back there because the ticket was so cheap, but let's face it, at the end of the day, you get what you pay for.
All right.
So.
No, I mean, yeah, but no, yeah, I've got to say, my viewing, I loved it. I mean, I'd see it a couple times over. I wouldn't be like, because you worked Guardians 1, right? Or no?
No.
No.
The only time I worked was right before I left before
2?
Age of Ultron.
You were Guardians 2, though, didn't you?
No.
No? Guardians 1, there was a customer, or a Patreon that was that came up at the theater I worked at and literally seen the movie 14 times within the span of 3 weeks. I'm not kidding. He literally, like, I seen him 10 times myself and let him in 10 times myself.
You let him in for free?
No, led as in I led him to his seat, walked him to his seat. However, he said 4 times or 3 times at the below theaters and 1 time at the IMAX is what he's seen. And I was just like, damn, dude, you spent like $160 at the day.
I was gonna say there's we're getting into that time of year where a lot of these hot summer movies are gonna be coming out. But with Captain Marvel, as far as the scene goes, we were talking about how it picked up after the train scene.
For me, it picked up when she crash lands in the blockbuster.
Blockbuster,
and then from then on, it got a lot better. The pacing was a lot better.
The bad reviews that I have seen, I've talked to people into going and seeing this. I talked to my brother-in-law to go see it the other night, and he told me the only thing he didn't like about it was so slow from the beginning to about the blockbuster train scene.
I mean, I've got to say they are introducing a pretty new character.
They introduced a brand new character and a brand new universe and a brand new person and a brand new universe. Like I just said, in 2008 with Iron Man kicked off with a fucking bang.
But don't get me wrong, if you see that helmet, you know exactly who Iron Man is.
But I mean, they did this.
Both of you seen that symbol and didn't know who the fuck Captain Marvel was.
Right. But this is the movie in between the 2 biggest Avengers movies of all time.
Right.
And I still, like, I mean, you got to introduce, and we
had to connect the dots.
Right. It's a marathon, not a race. Or not a sprint.
I know several people who fell asleep in Avengers 1 and Captain America, the First Avenger. Several people.
There's fucking something wrong with those people.
I mean, I know actually a family that literally Captain America, the First Avenger, they didn't like it so much that they've never watched it.
Well, Captain America is, that's slow.
And the thing is, I enjoy the First Avenger than Captain Marvel.
I
think the first Captain America movie, it's better paced. I think it's maybe, I don't know what it is. It's just this movie, there was just something about it that was just like, in the second viewing I was like, oh my god, why is this dragging? And even after the blockbusters, even from that point forward, I was just like, can we just please move on?
So you liked it better the first time than the second time? The second time you were like, probably, why did I come back and see this?
Yeah, because I was really debating about whether should I see it again. So,
But I do agree with you that I do like the Captain America movies more. Mm-hmm. Like right now, if I come over here and pick out a Marvel movie, one of the first 2 I might look at is Winter Soldier or Civil War, because to me those feel like
a Marvel movie.
No, I like how it's different, and that's why I like Captain Marvel. But to me, it feels like it's more of a spy thriller movie than just a plain superhero movie. And to me, that's why I kind of dug Captain Marvel, because it felt like I was watching something from another universe.
And here's something else too, because for me, like I said, I didn't hate this movie. I'll give.
It's just not your favorite.
Yeah, but it's nowhere near the top 5, but it's nowhere near the bottom 5 either. It's just okay, there it is.
And I mean, don't get me wrong.
That's a good point of view, and I appreciate that.
21 current movies in the MCU. 21 in the MCU are out right now. That is including Captain Marvel. So I mean, don't get me wrong, for that, that's not too bad. But I mean, to me, like
top 10.
No.
Damn.
I think I have it higher than Doctor Strange right now.
Bottom 10.
Damn. Okay. But I mean,
No. I got that reversed. I like Doctor Strange better than Captain Marvel. Sorry to disappoint.
Well, no. I mean, that's the. I mean, I'm not going to say that's pacing issues because we talked about this in the a few episodes ago. We were talking about people were talking about Venom.
Yeah.
How the bad reviews were like, oh, it had pacing issues. It wasn't, a full-fledged action movie. So, I mean, I don't want to use pacing issues with this one because to me it's more than just an action movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the same thing I had. I mean, I saw the negative reviews for Venom. I'm like, you can't say that it has pacing issues because it just feels more than a...
I mean, truthfully, they're introducing the story of, because don't get me wrong, you could say that Captain America, the first Avenger, had pacing issues simply because, okay, we're here with Bucky, and we're here, oh my god, he got punched. Well, he grabs the shield, the trash.
Yeah, but I mean...
Then he turns finally into the super soldier and shit like that. I mean, you can say that, but, you do have to start out with, what is their origin? What is their beginning? Why does this person matter to the universe?
And that's fine.
With, with her, it was her mind is messed up because of the incident, the Pegasus incident. So with that, I mean, don't get me wrong, when you introduce several different key points like that, you kind of have to dig because you got so many different inner workings that once you see a different movie, or if you go back and visit different ones, because this ties into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this ties into several different movies.
But the issue, the thing I think Zach is trying to get at is the way it was written.
Yeah,
like,
because I can watch Iron Man, I can watch Thor, Captain America, Black Panther, even Ant-Man. And it's just, they go by like that. This one is just like, okay, can we just move a little faster?
I mean, did you notice with the Star Force, it had a tie-in with Guardians automatically?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Demon Hansu.
Yeah, and Ronan and all that whole story.
Well, I'm saying right off the bat it did because he was in Guardians 1
right.
when Chris Pratt as Star-Lord came, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord.
I mean, Guardians is written all over this movie.
In Guardians,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Trolls, the Lunchbox, everything is written,
Yeah.
But,
it's not, it's like Guardians was kind of like the 80s references. This is the 90s references. Right. Which I really did enjoy the Nirvana song. That one scene. I really, that fit really well.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about here was the soundtrack. To me, I mean, we go back all the way to episode 1. For us at the podcast, and its soundtrack. And to me, this soundtrack was spot on. This is, besides Guardians, this is one of the only soundtracks, as far as Marvel films go, that they really spent some money on the soundtrack.
I was about to say, they did spend money and they spent time on placement, specifically on placement, because like you just mentioned with the Come As You Are, that's why they put it in with the Supreme Intelligence factor, because it's coming as you are, not as it is, but as you are. And that's why they delve into your mind and present you with a familiar so you can be more comfortable, in quotations.
But the other question I had is, when it comes to the placement of the scenes, like it did take a little bit time to kick off, but man, once it did, that hour one kind of does go by a little slow. But after that, blockbuster scene, train scene, and we're gonna talk about the train scene right quick. Is what did you guys think of the Stan Lee cameo?
Amazing.
See, I loved the Marvel logo with him more than his cameo. I thought that was like, that's perfect.
That's another thing we didn't talk about.
Perfect.
The opening, the fanfare opening.
In your guys', I had a lot better response to that in my second screening than the first one.
Oh, well, I mean...
First one was dead.
Yeah.
And the second one was dead for us because of the fucking theater.
I was about to say, you kind of have to...
Little fucking kids sitting next to me. I want to pop the shit out of them.
But, I mean, they didn't really understand what was going on with that. But on top of that, my thing is this. Are they going to keep it that way, or are they going to...
I'm pretty sure that's it.
I think they'll do it for... in-game,
probably.
And maybe Spider-Man Far From Home, but after that it'll go back to the
characters.
Just in-game, or maybe even this is just a one pop. And
no, I honestly think he passed away they're going to continue to do all these movies in his memory, I think it's full time. I think that'll be your opening for every single Marvel movie, which I think it should be.
I was about to say, I don't think this is because don't get me wrong, is he the only person that came up with these characters? No. Everybody knows that or should know that. No, he's not. But he is.
He's the face of that brand.
Big key of all this.
Yeah.
I mean, simple. But yeah, I thought it was awesome, and simply because he had a spot in Mallrats.
Yeah, that's the script he's reading.
Yeah. Well,
he was actually reading at his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He even had I just lost. He's got I think 3 or 4 more cameos though, and then I think he's done. They didn't film anymore, so I think Spider-Man might be the last one.
But I mean, on top of that, what's funny is that is the first time that Stan Lee is Stan Lee in any of the films.
No, that is true because he's always playing like some random.
That's true.
Come down there, you punk kids, or
I have I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there for. Which should be kind of horrible now that I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna go ahead and call that his cameo in Endgame is like he's one of the people that just gets like vaporized, like his, I really hope that doesn't happen, but I could see them doing that.
I don't know because there.
You know what? That is.
I'm just gonna go ahead and call that. You'd be like, oh my god.
I would love that. To be honest with you, I would love that.
But he's dying. Technically, he's dying, but that'd be kind of bad. But I could see them kind of doing that as a humor in this whole situation.
It could be a 50-50 because there could be a big backlash on that, as in people don't want because with how people seen him,
Let's face it. No,
people could see
I don't see that because I don't see that because let's face it. In today's world, anything and everything offends somebody.
Yeah,
so that's the perfect way. If you're gonna end cameos and he's dead, and because let's face it, I just got word like the other day that they just finished the movie. Like it's cut, it's ready to go, and that's just a few days ago.
Yeah,
they could have added, taken away. Mm-hmm. They could have done whatever they wanted to. So
wait, are you talking Captain Marvel?
No, I'm talking Endgame.
Okay, that's what I was saying.
Right, like they just cut it and it's finalized and it's ready to ready to get sent out.
Hot on the press.
So what I'm saying, I mean that's a perfect way to write him off. And if I'm doing it, I mean that's why not?
I'm not saying.
I think it'd be a funny
right
poking at
I mean because you can't keep him around forever. So why not just go ahead and boom, write him off. He's done.
Let's have some fun with
Move on. Yeah, because everything offends people nowadays. And as far as those people out there, I'm talking about you people who go and spend this money on these movies, and then you'll sit there and bash the shit out of it.
What do you mean, you people?
No, you people, the ones who go out there,
Robert Downey Jr.
and I'm really, it's the same backlash with like Ben Affleck. Here we go back onto the DC kick.
This motherfucker.
But here they go. I mean, they'll go out and spend multiple viewings for the movie, bash it, and then go back out. I don't know, but I think that's a perfect way to write him off. I would appreciate that, and
the whole thing going back to Captain Marvel. I think it was done well, but at the same time, I think they could have done a little bit better. It's just like, we had to establish the part where it's just like, okay, here's the pager that we see at the end of Infinity War. It was like, hey, when you need me, just call me. I think they could have done like something much more clever with that, but again, it was a like we need to get that A to B.
Right. I mean, I can see that. Well, I'm not going to say lazy writing, but it did kind of feel like, hey, let's just hurry up and throw that out there.
Yeah.
But man, let's do a little bit of fantasy booking as we always do here in this show. We're not going to talk end credit scene yet because to me that's fucking epic. But
are you talking about the end or just the end credits? Because I mean, either one is pretty cool.
Post credit scene. Did you guys like as soon as the movie came out? I don't know. This might be a touchy subject again.
So she said.
But after the movie came out, I don't know if you guys read the article, but Marvel stated that they think it's time for a gay superhero. And then
Okay,
it was...
and-
Hold on a second. As soon as that came out, you know, you go see the movie, you kind of see the relationship between Captain Marvel and
The
friend?
best
the
friend.
best friend.
Really?
Yeah.
Come
Well,
on.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Though, if you look into the comic book origins,
But I'm just saying, I don't mind it. If you know, if they
No,
want...
but is that just based off their relationship in the movie?
Yeah.
Or just like
Well,
their-
they released that rumor and innuendo as soon as the movie was released.
because don't get me wrong, in the origins of Captain Marvel, she was played as the damsel in distress. You know, kind of like she was as the little girl, always hurt. Well, why are you doing this? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? You're not strong enough. You're not fast enough. You're not this. You're not that. She was always the damsel in distress, even when she got her powers. And on top of that, well, she actually was sexually, pretty much sexually harassed in the comics many times. And it wasn't really until I think 2012, 2008, somewhere in that little area, until she was kind of truly taken seriously as Miss Marvel. Not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel. And there's a difference between the two. And if I'm not mistaken, in the current timeline of the comics, she is back again as Captain Marvel. But yeah, so I mean, I can see that as an appropriate thing for her character, just because it's kind of getting away from that sexual harassment.
I just look at it this way.
Thing in society.
If you're gonna release something like that, why not release the statement before the movie comes out?
Right.
As a producer, as somebody working for Marvel, why would you release that? Not unless you think that's going to help, you know, a little bit more money at the box office.
Probably.
But man, how about MVP for this movie? Samuel Jackson, throughout the whole movie, to me, was probably one of the better things that I liked about this movie.
Well, I mean,
He carried this movie at a you know, he was funny, he was pissed. I was hoping for a motherfucker line, but I didn't get it.
And he had good chemistry with Brie Larson.
Right.
I thought they did very, very well together.
Well, I mean, they got done doing Skull Island together.
Oh, yeah,
so I mean,
that's true.
this is their second movie together. But yeah, I enjoyed them two together and then separate. I thought, man, I don't think you can.
I mean, you can.
It was almost
but
this almost felt like a Nick Fury movie too.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
he's the side or the
he's the
sidekick.
sidekick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like everybody was wanting a Nick Fury movie, and I think you got one here with Captain Marvel.
Kinda, yeah. Because I mean, on top of that, this is when he finds out aliens are real. You know,
Don't-
kind of the MIB thing.
Did you guys notice though that, you know, in Iron Man 1 or Iron Man 2 they didn't really have the name for SHIELD. They kept saying it
That was in
long
the first
ways.
one, yeah.
Well, I mean,
And then in this one in the 90s that they
He
referenced
showed-
it as SHIELD.
Yeah.
I'm a SHIELD agent.
So it's just like, what?
Yeah, so I mean that's a small thing I noticed.
well, it was more under
Here we
kind
go.
of protection. You know,
Well-
I mean, they were wanting to still keep it in the shadows, kind of deal. Like, you know, we're spies for SHIELD. SHIELD isn't supposed to be. It's kind of like Delta Black Ops. You weren't supposed to know who the fuck Delta Black Ops are. I mean,
Well,
Right.
something else that kind of, and this is just kind of a slight nitpick for me. At the end, and they again spoilers. At the end, where he's sitting at his computer and it was like the Protector Initiative, is like, okay, like we get it. You don't have to do like go that far and be
They
like
just-
Avengers Initiative.
They
Like,
just
we get it,
they
we
wanted
know.
they wanted to get somebody's arm.
Or if any, what they could have done instead of doing, it'd be cool if they didn't have the name Shield. They could. He was sitting at his desk to figure out like what could we call this organization, you know?
well, I mean, the protection. Well,
because you didn't even hear
Is that reference to the comic book?
Yes, it's a big reference to. The
you didn't even
books.
hear SHIELD and Iron Man, so that's why I was kind of.
Yeah.
But again, those are small nitpickings.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this, I think we all three did though. In this podcast, we always go say, we'll go see a movie with an open mind. What about you? I mean, we'll all Gesundheit. Fuck
Sorry,
you.
Sorry. Sorry, we have Edward dying over here. It's all right.
We all went in seeing with an open mind on each movie we try to go see. What about you? Did you go in? Did you have a little bit? Were you hyped up about it? Fuck you! I'm not saying it 3 times. Were you hyped up about it? Were you?
You know,
Because like with me, I didn't know anything about Captain Marvel, but I was interested, and I mean,
So you
I
didn't
wasn't-
know who the fuck Carol Danvers was.
right. So I wasn't hyped up about it. Were you overly hyped?
I was excited about it. You know, it's a Marvel movie. Anytime that I see Marvel, I'm just like, heck yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. Like I've always been hesitant. Not always. I've just been hesitant about this movie since I've heard about it. I'm just like, oh, like okay, fine. Like I understand it leads into Endgame. That's fine and all. But I mean,
Truthfully, it makes me more excited for Endgame now, just because honestly, I was kind of on the fence with Brie Larson as the character.
Well, so as far as going into it though, how were you excited or were you just
I was excited
trying to be
to
numb about it?
I was excited to see a character, a new character, because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Thor and Iron Man and Cap and all of them are stale. Truthfully,
So you
with Ant-Man, I haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, so without
you kind of don't
regards
need
that-
to really.
you don't need to now.
Well, I mean, just for the quantum realm. but
Just
I mean,
no,
that's
you
about
don't.
it.
Just for shits and giggles.
Well, I mean that's a different thing.
It's
but,
just it's just the post credit scene. Other than that,
Right.
you're good.
But I mean, I personally was a bit disappointed with Ant-Man. I legitimately was. Paul Rudd didn't knock it out of the park. Now I thought he did decent with the Civil War mix.
Because it was short and sweet.
Right, he wasn't the main focus, but I get the whole dad trying to be a good guy from a bad guy and gets roped into all that.
I think if you got more of the backstory in Ant-Man, I think it might have been a little bit better. If you got more of the mom story and Michael Douglas being the actual Ant-Man.
And Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's significantly better than the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I feel that Ant-Man, if any of them drag, that's the only one I think you should really bitch about. Like I don't think anybody.
It doesn't drag, but it doesn't feel like a really good superhero movie because it just feels like a comedy.
Well, I mean, like him finding out how to work
DC.
For him to find out how to work the actual suit and how to do all that. It seemed like they were just downplaying Paul Rudd's character and making him feel like a little dumbass bitch instead of bumping him up and truly training him. I felt like, let's beat the shit out of this guy since he was an ex-criminal. Ha ha ha.
Well, one of my other questions, and I was going to ask both of you, I think I talked about it with you the other day, but with you, Zach, do you feel like some of these Marvel movies just feel like the exact same? Like, you could have 10 Marvel movies, 10 different directors, and you really don't have that, like, you can tell if it's a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
You can tell if it's a Scorsese film. But with the Marvel movies, it's almost like, it feels like they're all directed by the same person. Like, the producers are the puppets, and the director is just really there to say action.
Yeah, Kevin Feige is basically the whole brains behind the operation.
Is that why you think...
What I will say about that is that when I'm going into if I'm going into an Avenger movie, I'm getting an Avenger movie.
Right.
If I'm going to an Iron Man or a Captain America
Yeah.
or Black
Do
Panther,
you-
that's its own thing. And
Well-
I'm like, okay, I know my mind is like, this
Set
is
on
Cap's
those
story.
Yeah,
Here we go.
but see, I felt like the only movie that I felt wasn't... It could have been, different was Black Panther. Is that because of maybe the director being so strong-willed of doing what he wants to do compared to Marvel having,
Probably.
the director of Thor Ragnarok, he's a young, up-and-coming director. They tell him what to do, he'll jump.
Right.
Black Panther director, on the other hand, he's going to do what the fuck he wants to do.
I think the difference between Waititi and Ryan Coogler, I think no one really knew who Thor Ragnarok's director was. With Ryan Coogler, he already had done Fruitvale Station and Creed,
Right.
which,
Epic
everyone
fucking
knows
movies.
Creed. Everyone loves Creed. I think, and just due to the subject matter, I think they were just like, you know what? We've seen your both of this prior films were critically receptive was really good.
Right.
They was like, you know what? We're gonna let you do this.
So why-
And Ryan Coogler came out and said, look, I want to tell this own story. I didn't want anything to do with Infinity War other than obviously the credit scene, and they let him do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's I think that's where DC struggles, is that they're trying to do so many things at once. I know, I'm sorry for the DC,
It's
all
good.
DC. But And I think that's why Black Panther really, truly is its own thing.
Is that why you think it got more recognition than any other Marvel movie out there?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Truthfully, I think the main thing, and I like how you were going about it, but I mean, as in the direction style, I think the main thing you can tell is the difference between groups, as in Guardians, Avengers, and even separates. But as far as, like, from Avengers, like Avengers 1 to Infinity Wars, it does kind of seem the same as far as the main group of Avengers: Thor, Captain, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and
They all feel like they could have been directed by the same person.
it kind of feels vanilla through the whole thing, to where like Black Panther or Guardians kind of 1 and 2 feels the same.
Well, while that is true for Guardians, I think for Cap, one is a World War II drama. Winter Soldier is a 70s spy thriller, and Civil War is like a neo-political drama.
Well, I mean, essentially they did come out in those eras, basically. So, I mean, it kind of is its own thing with that story. But, I mean, like, once Avengers 1 hit, so, like, you've got Thor 1, you've got Cap, First Avenger, and you've got Iron Man. Those three right there. To me, I think those three are the ones that kind of hit the queue before the status quo was petitioned, basically, I guess you could say. Because after Avengers, like, I'm talking Thor Dark World, Cap with Winter Soldier, Iron Man 2, you know, and them going on, I'm saying, like, from that on to Infinity Wars, with the exception of the Guardians 1 and 2, with Ant-Man and Wasp, and then Black Panther. I think, like, those are their kind of own entities.
So,
but, you know, as far as, like, the group thing, I think I agree with you.
So we all
they'll mesh.
We all agree that, you know, we went into Captain Marvel, and at the end of the day, we saw a good movie.
Oh yeah.
It's just, I think I had more problems with it than you guys, and that it's opinion, it's subjective.
Right. I mean, there's no issue. I mean, everybody out there. But there's out of honestly, out of the 100 people in there that's watching the movie, it might be 50-50.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen? Just a second, guys.
Just like while you looked that up, one of the movies that I was going to mention was Thor, the original Thor. I didn't really like it. It's one of those movies that I'm like, you know, everybody else probably loves it. Captain Marvel for you is probably Black Panther for me.
What do you mean by that?
To me, it's good, but I don't see, you know, I didn't love it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And
you're saying this about Black Panther or
right.
Captain Marvel,
right? Like you with Captain Marvel, like you like it, but you probably didn't love it.
Yeah, I felt the opposite. I
right.
love Black Panther, but I think this is fine.
Right, and that's how I felt about Black Panther, which is
and you know what I'm looking at right now is just like on IMDb, it is just like the first 2 reviews is 8 out of 10, and then the next 3 is like 4 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 4, 6, 5. So I think it's the first Marvel movie that's came along and that's kind of been like,
There's divide in between it.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. I enjoy a little good debate. Not really debate though, but I do like. One thing that this podcast brings is 2 different, you know, at first 2 different sides of a film. We had a bonus episode in November. I loved Evil Dead.
Yeah.
He didn't like it, but the original, which is something which if you really want to know how we feel about it, you go check it out in the archives.
Yeah.
Spotify, iTunes, Google Cast, and YouTube, so, which is fine. But now, you know, there's 3 different opinions on one podcast, which makes for a very touching and different way of looking at it. Almost like a round table discussion is what some of these future episodes are going to be like. So, with you know, digging in deeper and deeper, I enjoy having more conversations, and, you know, 2 out of 3 may not like it, or, you know, there might be one movie that we all have something that we really don't like about the movie, but we're like, fuck it, let's rewatch it and see what we think about now. I mean, that's what I hope that this podcast can do. But as far as you guys go, favorite scenes?
The blockbuster and the train sequence were probably the standout scenes for me.
I'm gonna say probably the final fight between her and the Star Force, and then probably the scenes with the West.
You talking about that scene?
Yeah, that one to me was well choreographed. The song coming in just made it even more big and just to me fun. It made it fun because I mean you could have just done the tired action.
I don't think you have a good movie without the soundtrack.
No, and I mean don't get me wrong. It to me it brought it up because.
And by the way, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
By the way, whoever was in charge of this department did an excellent job. Goose the cat. Who freaking I want that cat, man.
Okay, I've got some stuff about that cat here in a second. I'll finish my thought and then I'll tell you a little bit more about that cat that neither of you bastards will know that I do. And I was wanting to think that, so thank you, Zach, for bringing that up. Now, you know, the soundtrack definitely makes it fun just because, you know, I mean, all three of us grew up in that era. I grew up with a lot of these. I know both of y'all probably did too. So, you know, a familiar thing. And I mean, I was 4 basically when she came back to Earth, you know, 95.
So,
you know,
you agree with Zach that your 2 favorite scenes were the blockbuster and the train, and then the last fight.
No, the last fight, and then all the scenes after I've dug up some, all the scenes with the best friend and her daughter, because I pray they go with that little girl. Or at least that little girl's character in the future, because holy shit, it'd be awesome to see. And for all you comic book guys, Photon in the MCU, in like the future MCU, that would be amazing to see. When, you know, possibly Peter Parker is the old Iron Man now, you know, I think that would be cool. However, that's my final thought on that. While I'm still in my head with the cat actually in the comic books is Carol Danvers' cat.
Right.
On top of that,
in the movie, that's her cat too.
No. The cat is the Annette Bening's character.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah. Basically, the cat becomes Shield's or Nick Fury's, Fury's character. Now, with going with that thought, the cat's name is not Goose in the comics. It's another famous flyboy, if you will.
Can I guess?
Maverick?
Wrong.
Oh, no.
Wrong.
That's...
You'll love this. Chewbacca, basically. Yeah. So they decided to switch it up, make it a little more, not modern, but a little more, you know, Earth.
I really thought it was going to be Maverick.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, because, like, Disney already owns Star Wars, so they can't, you know.
Yeah.
They need to do something different.
But, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, I really hope we find out where the fuck the cat was during the Infinity War battle, because that cat could have fucking ate Thanos.
Yeah.
Well, probably.
Cats live a long fucking time, too.
Don't get me wrong here. Was probably tired from upchucking the Tesseract.
Which, by the way... I don't want to, go on a tangent. That whole story, that whole plot with the Tesseract, it threw me off so bad. Because in the timeline of everything, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it's just like, okay, so, it was in the first Avenger, and then somehow it got to, they fish it out of the ocean, and then Nick Fury has it. So I guess it was in between... That
45
and that is where that
80,
goes in.
45 and 89.
Yeah.
Because 89 was the incident with Wendy Lawson and Carol Danvers that sent her back to,
I still don't think we got the final act, if you will. I still think Endgame is going to fuck up someone's timeline.
Yeah.
It is. But then again, hopefully there are enough people to correct each other on that.
No, it's going to fuck up their timeline.
I'm saying hopefully, keyword, but...
Speaking of Endgame, let's talk briefly about the mid-credit scene.
Yes.
It went straight, like, I knew it was going to do something with Endgame, but I didn't know it was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to call, that's probably a scene directly from the movie.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Well, I mean, I've got 2 questions for you then. Okay, 2 questions. Or actually, it's a question and a question. Why didn't he call her before this? Why didn't he call her for New York, for Avengers 1? Why didn't he call her for?
Because phase 1 is
The core Avengers.
Right.
Well, and plus at the time they may have not known if they were going to do Captain Marvel.
But I mean, don't get me wrong, as in
you're talking fantasy booking. If this
Yeah.
was real life,
Right.
why didn't he? Honestly, if I'm fantasy booking it and I'm Nick Fury and I have her on the back page, she specifically tells him life or death if it's an emergency. As a Shield, whatever the fuck he is, he's the director of Shield. He's I think everything was riding on him with Phase 1. If you remember, he was talking with those people in those screens where you couldn't really see. Yeah, you couldn't really see their face. He was trying to back the Phase 1. That's his idea. That's what he wants to go through. How would he look if he went and dialed some random person that wasn't involved in his Phase 1 to come and bail him out? That's why I think. If we're fantasy booking and this is real life, I mean that's why he probably didn't. If I was him.
Cool.
But what I would have liked to see, though, I would have liked to see what Fury and the person who was with him right before he turned into
Maria Hill.
Ash.
Yeah.
I would have liked to seen, that scene before what they're
what they're talking about
Right.
or chasing after.
I would like to see that, and hopefully we go back in time and see some shit like that. But man, that end credit scene where she shows up and she just looks at everybody pissed and she's like, "Where's Fury?" You now have your female lead Avenger. I think when this movie when Endgame is over, when Endgame's over, she's it. She's the be all end all. She's gonna be the guy. I don't think it's gonna be Black Panther. I don't think it's gonna be Thor. It's gonna be Brie Larson. And this movie was Iron Man 2008, but for the next phase.
For the next gen.
Yeah.
Because essentially
They have so much.
Phase 4,
They have so much writing on Brie Larson and Captain Marvel that I literally think that.
And the film's a success. It's nearly almost $500 million in its first weekend.
Yeah.
So
So I think man, it's hard to say because we're so close to it. I mean, this is what we've all been talking about for weeks now. We've done favorite scenes. We've dug in about it. We've talked about why we like it and why we love it and why we like it. Now let's do a little bit more fantasy booking as far as Endgame. Just a little bit before we let you guys go. Do you think that you think that the new phase going into it is going to be Black Panther and Doctor Strange? Or do you? I mean, I don't see Iron Man or Captain America going on from here. You only have a certain amount of screen time that you can do from this point on.
I truly think that while they may not kill off the characters, which I truly think that they're going to kill off Captain America, but I think if they don't at least kill off the characters, their stories are done. There's nothing else they can do with Iron Man or Captain America.
Captain America or Chris Evans have already came out and said he doesn't want his acting career to be based off of him being Captain America.
Everyone knows who Chris Evans is because of him, Captain America.
No,
but
everyone knows who Chris Evans is because of whipped cream and a banana.
What are you talking? See, I don't know what you're talking about.
He put whipped cream on his genitals and nipples and a banana on his ass. Anyway, like search it up in the history.
That's what he doesn't want to be remembered for, is just being Captain Marvel or Captain America. But like, I kind of wish he would just, if that's how he feels, just go ahead and go do what you want after this.
At least he's being honest about it.
That's true.
It's not like Ben Affleck in Justice League where he's just like
DC.
He's just like almost hate acting. Chris Evans is like
Ben Affleck is only doing that because of the bad reactions he got. I mean, I really think if Ben Affleck got nothing but good praise, like everybody else does in Marvel, he'd be Batman today.
And he'd be directing the Batman solo film.
And who was it that came out and said that was probably the best Batman script that they've ever seen? And then Ben Affleck, I think, tweeted recently, Zack Snyder said that is the best Batman script he'd ever seen. Obviously, he got to look through and watch whatever he wanted to working for Warner Brothers. But Ben Affleck kept re-going and, redoing that script. And I'm like, if they would have just let the man do what he wanted to do, I mean, he fucking wrote Argo and won fucking awards for that movie.
Best Picture.
Why not let him do the same for Batman?
Now I've got a question for y'all. Back to MCU, back to Captain Marvel.
No more DC talk?
Well, I mean,
we'll try not to.
Focus on
and next week's episode.
On central subject, do you think Captain Marvel would be doing as good as it is with Endgame 2 years away? With it leading into Spider-Man,
I don't
something
think
like that.
I don't think so, because we talked about it a couple weeks back. People are going to go see this regardless if Captain Marvel was this week and Endgame was next week.
Because I think it'd probably be doing what it is in.
Are you asking if it would be doing this good because it's so close?
Yeah, basically.
Or you think people's going to go see it just because they think it ties into Endgame?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Either way.
It's both.
Yeah.
Because that's my thing. Like, I don't think I think if it wasn't at
because pre-sale tickets started 6 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks ago, if that longer. So
I mean, I think if
you can buy tickets to Endgame right now if you wanted to. I think they're already on sale.
I don't think so.
No,
I think it's 3 weeks beforehand. But when we worked, it was 3 weeks beforehand. I know that. I remember that for.
Because
Infinity War, Infinity War tickets went on sale, it was like a month before it came out.
Yeah, I think it is a month. So.
But I mean,
because I know with Star Wars, I was able to buy them on Black Friday, and it came out on Christmas Day.
With riding the coattails, there's a giant basically trailing. Forgive me, basically the father trailing the daughter in her bride gown.
I really think that say Avengers was a month later. Or, like you said, 2 years later, I think she'd still be breaking in the box office. Now, I thought you were going to ask, which is an interesting question.
Good.
I thought you were going to ask, would it be doing as well if, Wonder Woman didn't do as well with the lead role? Because believe it or not, there's people out there, and when I worked at Harkins when Rogue One came out, there's people out there that really didn't go see Rogue One because of a female lead. There's still people that go, there's still people out there that think like that. So I thought that's what your question was going to be.
Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's kind of what I've compared it to. If people have talked to me about stuff like that, I've actually compared it to that. So it's funny you bring that up. Truthfully, I think this is basically the Wonder Woman of the MCU. Personally, in my opinion, think it's better. But like I said, in my opinion, I do. But, I don't think it's... Because I think,
Wonder Woman has that same kind of feel as Captain America does, the first and the second one.
Right. World War I.
Right, how it has that kind of different feel to it. But to me, I really think...
Captain America's World War II.
Yeah. That's what
Wonder Woman was World War I.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. But to me, like Captain Marvel, women today are changing the game. Whether it be getting D1 scholarships to play college football, main eventing UFC pay-per-views, or the College World Series did a fucking phenomenal. I think it did like a 4.5 rating. Million people watched it last year, some shit like that. What I'm trying to say is that
there's change in the air.
Exactly.
Which truthfully, I don't understand that. Because I mean, if the person can handle the reins and lift it on their shoulders, who the hell cares what the gender of the person is?
There's just, and it won't be like that in 10 years because it's sad to say, and I don't want to wish death upon anybody, but that generation will have died off. Because it's still those older people that think a female can't do. I'm not gonna go see that sandwich making lady in this movie. People think like that.
And to me, I'm just confused on that stuff.
Well, it's the same thing as like
Rosie the Riveter back in the 40s.
That's that same generation that didn't go see Black Panther.
That's true. I was about to touch on that, but we're living in a day and age where it's all about a star rating. All right, so it's all about the star rating. We'll go back round table like we were going through the top 5. I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10. IMDb didn't love it at all, man. IMDb gave it a 6 out of 10, which I was really surprised for.
I think it's at a 7 now, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
We align pretty well with IMDb.
Yeah.
IMDb.
We don't do Rotten Tomatoes here, so
I like tomatoes.
I don't. Yeah, same here. Take them off. But for me, I'm gonna do an 8.5, an 8. Ed.
Pretty much, I enjoyed it. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I felt like it was a bit of a fresh take on the 90s coming up. So I'm going to give it a 9.5, a strong 9.5 at that. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I cannot wait for more from Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. I really can't.
Zach?
Here we go.
No. I mean,
I'm just kidding.
You know, honestly,
be real.
like,
Honest opinion.
when I think back about the movie, the action was really good, the performance was really good. Goose the cat, I might need one of those in my life. You know what? I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
I was gonna settle it for 7.5, but all the goods.
I almost gave it a 7, to be honest.
No,
What is your real rating? I mean, how you feel is what we're looking for.
honestly, for me, it's probably a 7.5, but all the good
I think
outweighs the bad for me, so it's an 8 for me.
we do
honestly.
spend a lot of
A
time.
fair 8.
It's a fair 8, yeah.
We spend a lot of time on star rating, but I have been thinking over the past few weeks, maybe we should switch it into a.
I like numbers.
Yeah, that's what I was
No
going
numbers,
with.
but, yeah.
I was thinking about maybe a buy or pass. Like if once you see the movie,
Go see
would
the
you
movie.
buy it
Or
would you just pass on it?
I would 100%. I'd buy this easily.
Yeah.
So I
Blu-ray
mean,
copy for a case,
maybe
whatever.
we can going forward. Maybe we can a buy or
like
pass.
that.
Or if it's already bought, hey, it's been paid for.
Because the only one I might do a pass on, but I'd probably still buy it, would have been Ant-Man. Just like I said, I was a bit disappointed with it.
That's fair.
All it was. That's all.
That's completely fair. Well, I mean, we talked about it. We went and saw it. If you haven't seen it, go out, see Captain Marvel. It's worth a watch. Especially with us being just 4 weeks away from Avengers Endgame. We're on the road to Endgame.
It seems like just last year was a whole year we had to wait.
Now we're down to weeks, and
I mean, hell, that's around the time I turned another year older.
yeah. So like with Endgame coming up right around the corner,
So, you gonna take me for my birthday? No, I'm just kidding.
I think I'm gonna have to.
Whoa.
You could be a little more enthused about it.
So, Avengers Endgame is coming to you on April the 26th.
Yeah.
We are going to cover Avengers Infinity War April 21st. Next week is The Departed, Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio.
So you said Taxi Driver is his masterpiece. I think The Departed is the masterpiece.
I think so. See, that's the thing. None of that is... he didn't get no love for The Departed, as far as he won Best Director.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it took a really long time for him to get Best Director. But
Well, we'll talk about that.
yeah. So next week is going to be fun. I like that we're doing The Departed on St. Patrick's Day next week.
Well, I mean,
The field is right in the... Right.
When you're going up to fucking Boston, you can't fucking do nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Got some friends up in Boston, so shout out to those guys.
And then we want to thank everybody that's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviereels405. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it looks like Adam Sandler is pulling away in the... we picked 4 distinct actors. We picked Tom Hanks. I think you picked Tom Hanks.
No, I picked Leonardo DiCaprio.
You picked Leo. I picked Hanks. And Adam Sandler, I'm not going to lie. And then you picked Johnny Depp. And out of the blue, Adam Sandler is the underdog winner, it looks like it's going to be. So
you being a huge Adam Sandler fan,
I popped. I'm not going to lie. I popped for it.
Like, you didn't think he would get more than 5 votes.
I didn't.
You thought he would kind of get shit on.
I thought he was going to get beat out by Leo, and then I thought Tom Hanks was going to smother him. But
he's coming out swinging.
He is. But it looks like our very first episode, that we're going to completely designate that entire show about. It looks like it's going to be Adam Sandler, which we will cover on March 24th.
Now,
that's gonna be a rough episode for me.
one last question with that. How long do we have to vote on that specific poll?
You're listening to this on Sunday night, Monday morning. Voting closes Tuesday at 3:30.
Tuesday at 3:30, so you'll have at least 24 hours, roughly 20 hours to vote.
The poll has been open. The poll's been open since Sunday at 3:30. So as you're listening to this, you'll have a full 48 hours. But you might as well call Lee and Adam Sandler, Ronda Rousey, because it hasn't taken him very long to demolish his opponents.
Well, I mean, she got her ass kicked a few times, so you can't fully,
But I mean, that's the layup of the next few episodes here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Departed on St. Patrick's Day next Sunday, and then Adam Sandler on March the 24th.
Yeah.
Ed?
This is Edward signing out.
Zach, this was your first time in person with the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Is it the first of many?
I hope so. I'm looking forward to more
Up to Boston.
Appreciate everybody listening. This was our most anticipated show of the year so far. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next Sunday on St. Patrick's Day right here for The Departed on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.